Well, good to have you here on the show. How did the ESPN gig come about where you called the Big 12 tournament?
The finger of fate, touched my shoulder again, my friend. It just kind of came through the wire, and a couple things came together. Just honored to do it down there in Dallas. And, I think it went well. I'd like to think we were out there doing glove work like an underutilized Men's Warehouse employee.
Well, was it the product of this amazing amount of viral attention that you're getting? Your calls are going viral. A lot of websites and handles have picked it up. Barstool has retweeted you. That has led to Washington Post profiles, the Athletic profiles. The buzz that you're generating from having your wacky calls, is that how you were able to get into the ESPN booth?
I think so. I mean, we're out there where the people are, really, on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram, LinkedIn, the professional people as well. And the traction has been there. The interest has definitely been there. And I think that caught Mickey Mouse's attention on this one.
Well, what I thought was cool, because I got to watch more of your stuff than I get to listen to with the Fred Nats, is that your play-by-play, and I said this on the air, is really crisp. It's really good. If people just think that you're just kind of a gimmick, it's not true. You do those creative, zany calls afterwards, but your play-by-play is really, really solid. So my guess is your goal is to gain people's attention with the zany stuff, but also to make sure your fundamentals are crisp and solid. Your foundation's really good to call play-by-play, right?
You're on to me here, DA. I think you're exactly right. I didn't always used to do the one-liners kind of like I do now, but just kind of reading the situation and reading the reality of the broadcast business, it felt like that was more of a way to hook people into it. But just as Rocky Balboa fought Apollo Creed right-handed in Rocky II, I felt like when I went out there on ESPN, I had to go out there and really kind of take them by surprise, which was more with my fundamentals and more with just the fun and the zany stuff, but also just those crisp broadcast notes. And I really appreciate that that's starting to catch on because, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be a TikTok sensation. I'm trying to be out there for you on TV and calling the biggest events. So it means a lot.
Joey Zanaboni joins us this morning on the show. So now we have this Yankee situation unfold. And I have coined the summer of 2022 the summer of Zanaboni, because 76 was Mark the Bird Fidrich, 98 was McGuire and Sosa, 22 feels like it's Zanaboni. It just feels like you're everywhere these days. And now the Yankees suddenly will have this opening. John Sterling's going to roll back his schedule, take some games off on road trips in the second half of the season. He's 84 years old, and you have declared you're the dark horse candidate for this position. Are you just saying that, or truly do you have an inkling that maybe you're being considered?
I absolutely believe I'm being considered. Now, the thing about being a dark horse, sometimes you're so dark they don't even know you're a horse yet. But I believe that I'm there in the gate and that the race will begin, because I believe I am the natural successor to John Sterling. I believe that our styles are extremely similar, and that what I'm doing is sort of John Sterling for the younger generation. And I think it would be a natural fit. I think it's the greatest city in the world. I think it's the greatest baseball franchise that's ever existed. And I think I would knock it completely out of the park.
How would you take over for John? Because John's such a legend and has so much of a style of his own. How would you make sure you honor him but also differentiate yourself?
Well, I don't think anybody's going to be able to completely take over for John Sterling, even after he retires completely and stops doing the games. I'm completely aware that for John Sterling, this is just an opportunity for him to rest and to get ready for what's going to be a great playoff run in New York City this fall. And so I don't see myself or anybody taking over for John Sterling. He's an all-time legend, and he's just an incredible human being. To do what he's doing at 83, almost 84 years old is off the charts. It's almost unheard of with that kind of energy. I will say this. When I go into the booth, I do it for the team that I'm doing it for, the players, the manager, the coaches, especially the fans. I do it for them. I don't do it for anybody else. And the commitment and the passion that I bring to the game, I really believe that is second to none. And I would put myself out there as doing something really special for that group and for that city. And I think that they would really love it.
So the thing is that your zany calls, are very unique. They're very signature. And I would think if you hire Joey Zanaboni, you want that part of the package. But do you think the Yankees might be a little too stiff upper lip, a little too traditional? I mean, they don't even like facial hair to accept, kind of some of your zanier calls.
How do they feel about back hair? As long as I don't have to get rid of that, I would be fine. I'll lose the beard, my friend, but what goes on in the backyard? Now, listen, that's got to be up to me. I don't think that it'd be any problem at all. I mean, hey, you listen to Sterling. Again, I think our styles are extremely similar. It's catchphrases, it's high energy, it's a lot of fun, and he's been embraced as really the great voice of the Yankees in modern times. So I don't think at all that it'd be any kind of differentiation. They want a broadcast that's smoother than a before picture in a Rogaine ad. They want something that's wilder than Lindsay Lohan in the late 2000s. They want something that's cleaner than a Lysol brand OnlyFans account. They know where to come.
Joey Zanaboni joins us this morning on the show. I think what goes underrated about you is that you banged around the minors for a while. You have tried to build your career step by step, and there's no shame in being at single A because you're at a great organization. You're getting great attention now, but you have worked on your craft for a while, and it takes a while to move through the baseball ranks. It's not like you get to go from rookie league ball to calling, a professional baseball team. So do you want to speed up the timeline on this? And that's part of the equation here, too, of trying to gin up attention, because if you do the traditional route, it could take you another 10 years to go from single A to the bigs.
Single A is the highest level that I've ever been at, and I'm extremely proud of that fact. I spent 6 years in independent baseball, 1 year at the rookie level with the Johnson City Cardinals in the Appalachian League, and now here in single A with the Fredericksburg Nationals. And to be honest with you, DA, I think that's the biggest advantage that I have, because I know what baseball means to small communities and what it means to individuals through these great experiences that I've had. And I spend time thinking about Major League Baseball and thinking about the way that maybe that scale and that reach, the corporate feel of it, has alienated some casual fans who experience baseball on the more personal and communal level, whether that's going to a little league baseball game or a minor league baseball game. They're looking for something that will touch their heart. They're looking for baseball that will really, really make its way into their soul. And the minor leagues, that's really what it's all about. And I think having that personal touch and having that communal feel, that's something that would actually end up increasing the reach, because it would make it more personal for people who maybe have gotten away from the game a little bit. And so I do see that as an advantage that I've had. In terms of the style, sure, it's something that gets attention, and it's something that maybe gets more eyeballs and gets more eardrums on the broadcast. But for myself, as I said, I do it for the team that I'm with. I do it for the community that I'm with. And when I go out to Virginia Credit Union Stadium here in beautiful Fredericksburg, and I see smiles on the faces of those fans, I realize the impact that something like this can have, and the opportunity to bring that to a larger level. It's secondary, but I like to make sure I reach even more people with it.
I like that attitude. My career began in minor league baseball as well, being an intern in the broadcast booth, just fetching hot dogs and hamburgers for the broadcasters and being able to hand them the index cards of sponsors and helping out with the cameras down the first baseline and things like that. And I'm with you. I think minor league baseball touches a piece of Americana and the sports soul that maybe no other sport does. And I think you're right. It ties you into something more profound. I think what's interesting about you and why I resonate with you, Joey, is that I actually think at the very heart of you, you're a really, really good guy and very self-effacing. I think that people might think that with these big calls, you're a look-at-me guy, but I don't vibe that. What I vibe from you is you're doing these crazy calls to get attention for your career, but you're actually not a self-absorbed look-at-me guy. Do you have to balance that to make sure people don't think that you want to make the show all about you?
Well, DA, I appreciate those kind of words. That really does mean a lot. And sure, I mean, I see Twitter trolls or whoever they are saying stuff like that. As I said last time on the show, honestly, I ignore them because I know who I am and I know how my career started, DA. I was given an opportunity in 2015 with Los Angeles Angels affiliate in Orem, Utah. And, the team actually basically, as soon as I walked in the door, told me they wanted to do a promotion called Caucasian Heritage Night. And I walked away from that team. I resigned that position in protest of what I believed was a racist intent and was a hateful intent behind that promotion and behind that night. And I was extremely proud of the actions that I took. I was extremely proud to stand up for my values, for my ethics, as well as for the community that I was working in during the academic year. I was the sports information director and broadcaster at a very small community college in Clarksdale, Mississippi called Coahoma Community College, one of the only historically Black junior colleges in America. I worked there for 3 years. I took that stand and walked away from what at the time was my best professional opportunity, just because I believed walking away was the right thing to do. And, a few years later, when some of this stuff started to go viral and some of these one-liners started to catch on Twitter and things, a lot of people forgot about that from 2015 with Orem. And, maybe that's the curse of modern living, or maybe that's just the curse of life in general, is people don't really remember you for the best things that you ever did. And I know who I am. I proved it to myself in that situation. And I guess, being sort of the internet's fourth favorite sports announcer, the play-by-play voice your grandma loves, and the guy with all the one-liners, sure, that's great. It's a lot of fun. But I think back on that experience, and I think back on those 3 years that I put together in Clarksdale, and I think of those as the most special and the most meaningful in my life. And it's more important to me to be a good person and to do something like that than to get these little bits of fame.
It's good background. Joey Zanaboni joining us this morning on the show. You got a game tonight?
I got a game tonight, 7:05 Eastern time. It's the Fredericksburg Nationals and the Lynchburg Hillcats. As you would say, throw out all the records for the Fred Nats and the Hillcats meet here at Virginia Credit Union Stadium.
Nada on the Fred Nats Radio Network, huh?
Nada here on the Fred Nats Radio Network.
Hey, solve this question for us. Who is Declan Horrigan, and why was it important that he was coming back after the break?
Declan Horrigan is the man who is reputed to have saved Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. He was on the 20th season of Hell's Kitchen, and now he is the head chef at Rebellion here in Fredericksburg. It's an incredible restaurant and bourbon bar. Make sure you check them out, 309 William Street, if you're ever here in beautiful Fredericksburg. And Declan was my pregame guest, and then he came up in the fourth inning, and he told me, actually, when he came up in the fourth, he said, "This is the first baseball game I've ever been to in my life." He's from Ireland originally. So I figured, hey, I better make this thing memorable for him. And we had the Lysol brand OnlyFans account. And then actually when we came back in the bottom half of the, I wish you could see his face on that OnlyFans account. It was shocked. We needed a camera booth. And then when we came back, a guy actually stole home, like a legitimate steal of home on the return throw back to the pitcher. And it was probably the most exciting moment of the season. So as far as having your first baseball game, I think it really worked out for him.
It's the summer of Zanaboni, brother. I wish you all the luck for this Yankees gig. Obviously, we'll keep our listeners appraised of the situation there. And as I've always said, always an open invitation. When you get up to New York at some point in time, even if it's after the season, you come by, you hang out with us. We'll go get breakfast or lunch after the show, and we'll have some fun.
Well, DA, thanks a lot. And thanks to all the guys for all your support. I hope it works out with the Yankees. This should be an incredible opportunity. And for all the great listeners out there, check it out at Joey_Zana on social media. And really do remember that New York City deserves joy in its baseball broadcast. I'm ready to bring it for you anytime.
I love it.